welcome everyone. I'm Izzy Greenberg. This is Early Care Connection. Today we have our resident panel of experts, Meryl Gay from the Connecticut Early Childhood Alliance, and Ava Bermuda Zimmerman from Childcare for CT, although she is filling in for Spanish translation this morning. So thank you, Ava, for, we're lucky that, that she's a jack of all trades. And we have that happen. Sandra's not feeling well today. So I'm going to just remind everyone to speak slowly for interpretation and remind our visitors today to use the chat for conversation between the community or for technical difficulties, and to use the Q&A for questions for our panelists. So welcome, good morning. It's very nice to be back with you all today. And a reminder that our next call will be in 2 weeks. We're still on an every other week summer schedule. And then starting back after Labor Day, we'll be back to every Monday, Monday mornings, not September 1st, but after that. So 7th or 8th, whatever that is. Okay, so today we've got a great program for you. We are joined by two people who are going to do a presentation from the Early Childhood Consultation Partnership, ECCP. I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. We have Yola Borto, the Senior Director for Early Childhood and Family Services, and Melinda Pritz, who's a Program Manager. So welcome to you both. Thank you so much. And I'm going to just turn it over to you now.
Thank you so much, Izzy. Good morning, everybody. We're so happy to be here today with you to share a little bit more about the Early Childhood Consultation Partnership, or ECCP. We're hoping to give you a brief program overview and talk about some of the services that we provide, and then have some time at the end to answer any questions that you may have for us today. Thank you, Melinda, for sharing the slides. So I'm going to let Melinda know when we're ready to advance them, and we're going to present this together this morning. So to start, a brief overview of our program, the Early Childhood Consultation Partnership. We are a statewide infant early childhood mental health consultation program. And what we do is we provide support to early care and education providers to help promote social emotional wellness of young children and the adults who care for them. Our goal is really to help support young children by partnering with caregiving adults. And we can support any young child who's in an early care and education program up to age 6, since we know that new kindergarten age change, as long as the program is interested in support, and if we go in for a specific child, the legal guardian of the child is interested in support. And we're going to talk a little bit more about program types in a moment. We do have funding from the Department of Children and Families, the Early Intervention and Prevention Unit, which makes our program available at no cost across the state. So we're so appreciative for that grant funding. And the program has been developed and is managed by an organization called Advanced Behavioral Health, ABH, which is where both Melinda and I are based out of. Next slide, please. So hopefully you've heard of us before. We are not a new program, but we want to make sure, since we know that there's some change in providers across the state, that you're aware that this program is available at no cost. We were developed back in 2002 by Advanced Behavioral Health, ABH, and our core goal is to support providers, educators, so that way we can reduce any instance of suspension or expulsion of young children, because we know that that is not a decision that anybody takes lightly, and it can be really challenging when young children present with big, challenging behaviors or concerning behaviors to know what to do and how to best support them. So because our program has been around for some time, we've had some research done, and we've actually found that when providers engage with our program, ECCP, they see lower rates of externalizing behaviors, so things like hitting, kicking, throwing, compared to providers who are waiting to receive services. So Dr. Gilliam, who many of you know, that was at the Yale Child Study Center, did an evaluation on our program 3 different times and found strong results. And again, we're available statewide at no cost due to the grant funding that we have. We have a wonderful team of master's level consultants. Currently, we have 19 consultants across the state of Connecticut. The way that our program works is that consultants are embedded in the community. So that means they work at a child guidance clinic in the community. They're trained in our model of infant early childhood mental health consultation, and they provide support to specific towns in the state. And so when you reach out for a referral to our program, you talk with a consultant directly who provides support to you and to your educators at your program and families at your program. Important to note, we recently had some changes in the towns our consultants support. And so there might be a different consultant that you're used to working with, but they're all trained in our program and they're available to support you for any concerns or work that you'd like to do at your program. And we're going to go over how to find your consultant towards the end of this training. Next slide. So we want to show a brief video that Muriel is going to share for us in just a moment. It talks about what infant early childhood mental health consultation is and just gives a brief overview of that. The video will run in English, but the subtitles will be in Spanish.
In early childhood, infants and toddlers are learning to crawl and walk and talk. They are also learning how to regulate their emotions and how to build healthy relationships. They depend on the adults in their lives to show them all of these things. As with learning any skill, having an effective guide is critical. That's where infant and early childhood mental health consultation can help. Mental health consultation is rooted in equity. Mental health consultants work directly with early childhood providers to facilitate children's healthy social and emotional development. The key is in relationships. Mental health consultants develop relationships with the caregivers in young children's lives. Through those relationships, they build the adult's capacity and skills to support the healthy social and emotional development of children. Mental health consultants are experts on child development, but they realize that early childhood providers have their own expertise about the children, families, and communities they serve. By working with a mental health consultant, early childhood providers learn how to better understand child behaviors and how to build even stronger positive relationships with children and their families. Studies show that participating in mental health consultation improves children's social skills and emotional functioning, promotes healthy relationships, reduces challenging behaviors, and reduces provider stress, burnout, and turnover. Mental health consultation is a proven mental health service that can make a difference in settings that serve young children and families. Learn more about how infant and early childhood mental health consultation can support early childhood programs.
Thank you, Meryl. So we wanted to show that video just to give a little bit more of an understanding of what consultants can do or what infant early childhood mental health consultation is. Melinda's going to share back our slide deck here for us. Thank you, Melinda. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the role of the consultant and what you could expect if you reach out to our program. So next slide. It's important to hold in mind that consultants really enter in at the level or the lens of promotion and prevention and can really be like the first level of support that a program receives or a family receives. If a family or a child is in need of some type of treatment, a consultant can kind of help support and guide that process. So maybe you're noticing that a family might need a little bit more, but you're not sure how to help them gain access or what to do next. You might actually reach out to one of our consultants that can guide you in that process and help you build your relationship with that family to support them in taking that next step. A big role of what the consultants do is really join with you as an educator to help build a relationship with you, help understand what you're seeing in your program, help you use evidence-based best practice strategies to promote social emotional wellness for the children and for your team at your program, and to be able to then move forward in a way that supports really everyone in the program. So the consultants do this by joining with you. They come to the program. They help gather information. So they'll observe in the classroom. They'll talk with the educators in the classroom and any support staff. And then together with you, put a plan in place that they'll then support you in using in the classroom. And so Melinda will talk a little bit about what that looks like with the actual service types we offer. But important for you to know that really it's in a spirit of partnership, and it's completely voluntary. So a program would choose to have a consultant come in and work with them. Our program is very structured, meaning that the services that you receive, they're structured and they flow in the same way each time. So a classroom service always functions in the same way, a child service and a family child care program service, which Melinda will go into some detail with you in a little bit. And the heart of each of those services are creating an action plan together where we identify strengths and areas that we want to work on together. And then the consultants guide and support educators in using those strategies in real time in the classroom. So next slide, Melinda. So again, what the consultants do when they come out to support providers in early care and education settings is that they really help to take a step back and sometimes slow down where things might feel really busy and sometimes hectic, to really slow down, think about what we're seeing when we're seeing children's behavior, sometimes children who might be a little bit more reserved, sometimes children who might have a hard time engaging in play or following the classroom routine, and try to understand. We know behavior has meaning. It's the way that children communicate. And then we also think about how to strengthen relationships together. So between teaching teams, between educators and families, but then also with the children in the classroom, and to see how we can work more effectively together. If we determine, or if you have a belief that the children or families might need more specialized help, which we're seeing a lot lately in programs, then the consultants could also help support you and the families in making a referral to another level of support or service for the family. Next slide, please. So just like you saw in the video about infant early childhood mental health consultation being relationship-based, ECCP really takes this relationship-based lens. We know through supportive relationships is how we're able to understand and make change. And so we really work to develop a positive relationship with everybody who's involved in the consultation service. We do this by taking time to get to know the strengths and the needs, making a connection, really honoring and thinking about how we make meaning of situations, right? Being sensitive to culture and our values, our training and our beliefs, and then having ongoing communication throughout the whole process. Next slide, Melinda. ECCP, as a program, we take a strength-based lens. So what this means is when we engage with any program, any family, one of the first things we ask is what's going well? What are some of the things that you really feel are working well? What are some of the strengths of the teachers, of the educators, of the children, of the families? And then we want to highlight and build upon that. If there's something that's working, we're going to lean into that further to be able to understand why that's helpful, how we can do more of that. And then we're also going to work with consultees, which are essentially the people involved in the service, so the educators, the families, the administrators, to choose strategies to use in the classroom, to use at home or in the program that match with what they naturally do well already, and that meet the needs that they're identifying as a reason for consultation. We also want to build upon resilience, right? Things that are helping us to have positive outcomes, things that help us be able to cope with challenging times, to help us build more reflection. So the way that we're thinking about what we're seeing, again, sometimes it really helps to have a consultant come in to slow down so we have time to think about what we're seeing and how we're making meaning, and then what to do so we could redirect and work to prevent challenging behaviors or build skill that will address some of the concerns that we see in the classroom or in the program or at home. And we really work with providers and families to help strengthen the communication across all the systems involved, because that's a key part, and that can help us to have a more consistent approach. We know for young children how important consistency is, and for adults too, it really helps us. So we're all doing the same things together. We're all working towards the same goals together. That's a big piece of the role of the consultant coming in to partner with you and with the families in your programs. So it's a bit of history, a bit of background about ECCP. Melinda's going to go into our service types next and give you a brief overview of those as well.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Melinda Pritz, and I'm the program manager for ECCP in Connecticut. And what I'm going to talk with you about this morning is a little bit of this, more specifically about what we do in each of our services. So as you can see here, we do have that range of services like Yola mentioned. We can go into a program and provide a service across an entire classroom. So we can work with a teacher and a teaching team in terms of what they may be seeing for multiple children in their classroom, in terms of transitions, in terms of sort of the specifics of nap times or snack times, anything that the teachers are feeling like could really be something that is affecting how they are doing their work. So I'll talk with you a little bit more about that. We also have our specialized family childcare program service. And that is essentially our version of the classroom service that is translated to work really well in that setting, to be able to provide supports there. We also have a child service, which is for a specific child who may be struggling in some of the ways that you heard Yola mention. And we'll talk a little bit more about that too, in terms of some of the things that you might be seeing or that we might be able to support with. And so I'll talk with you about a little bit more about how supports inside of the program for a classroom or a specific child or both could work inside of ECCP. We do provide either a separate child service or a child service within a classroom service. And so if a consultant is coming out to work on, in a program with a specific teaching team for one classroom, they may be able to provide a support for a child as well, as long as the parents or guardians are going to be able to partner with us to do that, like Yola already mentioned. At the bottom, you'll see that we do have two specific types of indirect supports, where we can have more conversation, we can have some information that we share through trainings. So we have routinely, regularly, our consultants provide mental health consultation groups where you can have some of those conversations. And we also routinely provide community trainings where we will go into the community or provide a virtual meeting for you, sometimes both, to be able to provide information about what may be useful for certain behaviors you might be seeing or situations you might be seeing. So that's a quick snapshot. I'll talk a little bit more specifically about each type in terms of what we can do and what you may be seeing. So in terms of our classroom supports, we know there are many reasons why a program might call us to come into a classroom and provide supports. And our role really is to work with those teachers, the teaching team, and the center administrator. So maybe the director, maybe the assistant director, to really support everyone on the team feeling more confident and also building that social emotional lens to help them really understand what it is that they are seeing and what is happening in their classroom. The core classroom teachers might be looking for some support for themselves. The directors might be looking for some support for their team. We know sometimes a parent might be reaching out to be looking for supports within their child's own classroom. So we also understand that a teacher that is having us come in may be feeling like things aren't working, they may be struggling with certain parts of the process. We also know that it can be very sensitive in terms of having someone come in and support you in that role. And so we really want to remember that we are looking for strengths and we are building on strengths, and we're looking for any growth areas really through that lens of helping them enhance their teaching and enhance their classroom functioning. So it might be routines, it might be anything that is happening that we can support with. And so we will come in and we'll be looking at what are some of the relationship patterns that are happening, what are some of the things that they are noticing that they are concerned about, and then maybe what are some of the things that we are noticing that we feel could be even more helpful to them in terms of the functioning of their classroom. And so we do provide coaching. We might provide some reflection and some feedback on what's happening both in the space itself, but also in terms of the social emotional supports that are could happen for the children in the classroom, and the relationships and all of the processes that we're noticing, everything that we're seeing happening. So we also know that because we may be working to support a specific child within that classroom, the teaching team is also going to be partnering. And so we want to talk about ways to engage families. So maybe not just one child's family, but maybe all of the families for the children in that classroom. And we can talk about that as well. So we also want to really focus on the idea of self-care too, and how teachers are taking care of themselves. We know how important that is in a classroom. So inside of the classroom service itself, we'll go in and meet with the teaching team and the administration in the beginning, and really talk about what is happening, what are you seeing, and together build a plan in terms of things that might, interventions, things that might, strategies, which might work well. And so part of what we do in order to do that is we'll observe the classroom process and really take away some ideas so that we can build that plan together. And then we're going to work as we come in. Our classroom service is once a week, usually for 6 visits. If we are able to support a specific child in a classroom service, we will come in for 8 visits. So that's one of the benefits of having a classroom service with a child support nested inside of it, because we get to come a little bit longer and support you in that way. So during all of those weekly visits, we're going to be looking to help you practice and implement all of the pieces of that plan so that you and your team might feel comfortable with it. We're going to also provide a social emotional training inside of it. And so if there's a specific area that you've let us know really feels like a struggle and really feels like the thing that you'd like the most support with, our consultants can provide a specialized training to really talk about that topic and find the things that might be most useful for you and sort of hone in on that one area for you. So again, it is possible for us to have 1 to 2 child services nested inside of a classroom service. So similarly to that, our family child care program service has been adjusted to really be respectful of the differences in the setting and the specific needs of our FCCPs. So what that means is that we are able to provide a classroom service, also being very mindful of the length. And so we have a shorter service where we're able to go in and do very similar things. We meet together in the beginning. We talk about what is going well, what might be feeling like a struggle or a growth area, how we can be helpful. We'll watch and observe in the program to be able to take some information away and come back to build that plan together. So that in the FCCP, you might have some strategies in your classroom to be able to implement. Very similarly, we'll go in, we only do 3 support visits in an FCCP program. And that's, again, just to be mindful of being helpful, but not bridging into taking too much of their time. in terms of the work that they're doing. And so we'll go in, we practice, we support, and really observe and notice what behaviors they're seeing, what feels like it could work for them. And then in terms of our child service, we are very mindful that we know that you all are looking for supports, but also looking for supports in terms of families and what is happening for their child. So we know that in terms of the services that we do and going in and talking with you, part of what you're looking to figure out is what is happening for this child, what is happening to cause these behaviors. So one of the things we do is really piece things together and try to help be helpful in the communication between the program and the parents. And that's why we really need to have the parents involved to be able to have those conversations. We're very curious about what may be happening for a child. So we might be looking for, are there any recent changes for a child? What's been happening for them? It could be moves. It could be, maybe a sibling going off to school. Could be a grandma who used to live with them but doesn't anymore. Could be a change in terms of, a parent's work structure. So there may be some things that are happening that they are struggling with in terms of their life and their family, that the adults around them, to them, it might not feel like such a big thing, but for a child, it could be. So we try to observe and notice what is happening to be able to figure out what could be useful in a program for a teacher to be able to address and really be supportive of the child and build a relationship with the child so that they're seeing some changes in terms of the behaviors of concern. And so while we are very focused on what is happening between home and school, we're also very much thinking about what could be useful day to day, both at home and in the program in terms of helping the caregivers feel even more confident in supporting that child and helping the child in having positive behaviors, but also really understanding what's going on for a child. So in our child service, we do that by, again, going in for an initial meeting for a child because we ask that our guardians are on board and really want to be a part of that service. We do support that. And so we bring the parents in or guardian in and meet with the teaching team. And similar to our classroom service, but focused for a specific child, we kind of look at what's happening, what has been happening, and talk about strengths and talk about growth areas. Where might they be struggling? Where are we as adults struggling to support them? So we talk about that and we really do an observation for a specific child in the classroom and also in their home setting. So we'll go out and kind of see what's happening in their home routines as well. And then again, try to piece all of that together in a way that can be helpful for the adults. We build a plan specific to that child and give some ideas for the adults to be able to utilize day to day and help support. So for a child service, there are 2 support visits. Which again, if it is a child who is in a classroom we are already supporting, that really extends the classroom service, which is a benefit. So we know that sometimes even when we go into a classroom setting, there's still just more needed. So it may be that the teaching team and maybe the parents are telling us, these strategies that you're giving us are great and it's helping us with our day-to-day a little bit, and there's just more going on. Or maybe we're noticing and observing some things that we think could be really helpful for a child and a family system to have. And so one of the things that we can do is to be able to provide a connection to other community resources. We may do that even as a service is beginning, if we're already able to notice that something may be useful, or maybe during the course of the service, as we observe, we learn more things. And so anything that we know that could be supportive to a child and a family going forward, and maybe also for a teacher themselves, because teachers need support too outside of our service, we're going to look and figure out how to connect and be able to allow those services to also be supportive to the families and children that we're supporting. So one of the last things that I want to talk with you about today before I pass it back over to Yola is our indirect services. So we know that there are only so many of our consultants across the state, and there are so many programs that deserve to get supports. And one of the ways that our consultants still do that is by having our mental health consultation groups and our community trainings. And so we try to have these two things so that the consultant can provide information, have a space for conversation, let providers come together and really talk with each other as well. And so that's our mental health consultation groups. They facilitate those usually about once a month, and they might be either virtual or in person. And it really is just a space for people to come together and talk about what is happening for them. It's very, it's very informal, and it allows people to talk with each other as well. It's not just the consultants giving information, but it might be that, but it can also be talking with your peers, talking with each other about what you're seeing and what's happening. And because those groups happen regularly, our mental health consultation groups allow for another community to be formed together. So you might get to know the folks that are coming to it and be able to talk with them pretty routinely. Or you might see new faces every single time too, and learn new things about what's happening for them and what's working for them. And then we also have our community trainings. So our ECE providers are really telling us that they have specific needs that they would like for us to address. And so our consultants build trainings based on the needs that they're hearing from their community and provide about a 1-hour training, usually about 3 times a year for each consultant. And so in your area, you can talk with your consultant about when they might be holding these community trainings. And are they virtual? Are they in person? They can add you to a distribution list so that you can hear about these when they're coming. You can know what the topic is, and they can provide you the information to attend. So if you're interested, all you need to do is email your local ECCP consultant, and we'll talk with you about how to find your consultant in your area. The easiest way is to go right to our website that we'll show you at the end of our presentation, and search for your town, and it'll give you your consultant information. So I'll pass it right back over to Yola so she can talk with you more about how to come into ECCP.
Thanks, Melinda. So if you're interested in making a referral to your consultant, the best way is to reach out to them directly. And really, almost anyone can make a referral to the consultant. It's important to keep in mind if you're making a referral for a child level service and you're a provider at a program, that you are thinking about how you might talk with the family about that referral. Because again, remember, in order to begin a service, the people who will be involved have to agree to move forward in it. And so if maybe you're someone who works on OEC staff and you're thinking, oh, this program has talked to me about some concerns that they're having or some support that they would like, talking with them and asking them, hey, have you thought about ECCP? ECCP is grant funded, there's no cost to utilize, consultants will come right out to you, right? So that they're aware of and would be in support. It's best if a program or family directly makes a referral, because then we know that they are aware of and interested in moving forward. But if you are helping them to make that connection, that's fine too. We can take the information from someone who is not the actual program or family and then reach out to make that connection to support the process. I also want to add, and this I think is really an important thing, is let's say you're a program and you are thinking about approaching a family, but you're not quite sure how to talk to them about the opportunity to partner with your local ECCP consultant. You can call ECCP and we can give you some language to use and kind of help you think about how you might approach the family. Or you can come to one of those mental health consultation groups that Melinda mentioned and talk about that you want to make a referral, but that you're looking for some support with language. We find it's really helpful to let a family know that you are looking to support their child, that there's an opportunity to have someone come out to the program and help both of you think about the strengths of their child and how you can work together to make sure that they have the best experience they can at your program, building new relationships, making friends, learning how to follow a routine, and that sort of thing, that you're really coming at it from a place of partnership and wanting to get to know how to best support their child and work together. And usually most families are interested in that, especially when they know that ECCP is not a treatment program. We're not making any diagnoses of children. We're really there to look at what's working and to put some things in place or to support you to use strategies you have at your program to support that child, or to support educators in your program if it's a classroom level or a family child care program level service and you're looking for more of a classroom-wide support. Next slide, please. We often get questions about what kinds of things should I keep in mind when making a referral. So we wanted to spend a little bit of time thinking about that. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer for you today, or you can reach out to Melinda or myself if you have a question, or your consultant. So here are a few things to hold in mind. When you're thinking about making a referral for a child, obviously one of the first things is to consider, is the family or legal guardian in agreement and able to attend meetings for the service. So like Melinda talked about, it's a brief service on purpose, right? The purpose of consultation is to come in, to partner with the educators in the family and to identify the plan, right? And to help adults learn those steps. But the family would have to come to a couple of meetings. So for a child level service, there are 3 meetings that a family would come to the program and participate with. And those are planned in advance. We consider the family schedule in your schedule when we're planning them. The other thing we would want to have you think about is has the child been in their classroom environment or their family childcare environment for at least 3 to 4 weeks, that there's some stability, the providers know that child, and the child is somewhat familiar with the routine of the environment, because we are going to be looking at and helping you think about how to support that routine. So if the child just started a new program, or maybe is not in a program yet, that's not the best time to make a referral to our program. So once a child's in a couple of weeks and you're seeing that they could benefit from some support, then you can make a referral for a child service. And the other big piece that I think is really important to say, especially in today's climate where things are really challenging with coverage and staffing, is just to think about, do you have the time, if you're an administrator, do you have the time to be able to support your team in partnering with ECCP consultant for consultation, to be able to come to meetings and to be able to do some of that, taking a step back and think about what we're seeing, and think about what we're going to try to do maybe differently, or if there's something working well, to really commit to using that strategy with supports to see if that will then help improve the situation that we maybe are concerned about or have questions about. And so it does take that commitment of time. Most of the services from ECCP are directly in the classroom or in the program, where the consultant is working side by side with the teachers, but there are a few meetings that happen outside of the classroom. So that's important for you to be aware of. Similar for a classroom level referral, again, thinking about, is everybody agreeing to the service? And this goes for a center-based classroom or a family childcare program, especially if you have additional staff in your program with you in the family childcare. Is everybody agreeing and willing to partner? And then we ask that the providers stay in the classroom. So remember from our video and what we talked about before, this is a relationally based service. So the consultant is working with that teacher to help that teacher or teachers set some goals and work to make some changes in the classroom, or to maintain strategies that are effective, that we've all observed and noticed are effective. And that we're also asking that at least half the children stay the same. And that typically, like this time of year where there's some transitions happening with groups of children, can be impactful. The reason for that is if all the children transition to another classroom, then the teachers are essentially going back to square one and really working on foundational relationship building, and they don't really have the opportunity to put some other strategies into place. And so we find the most effective use of the ECCP consultation service is when educators are staying in the classroom and then at least the core group of children is being maintained. So yes, we can do some of that relationship building with new children coming in, but you're also able to use some of the other strategies that were outlined in the action plan around setting clear expectations, reinforcing them, building upon the work that you've been doing in partnership with the consultant. And so those are some of the core considerations to hold in mind when making a referral for ECCP. In terms of how to best make a referral, so we do have a website that ABH, where Melinda and I are based out of, maintain. It's the link is right here, www.eccpct.com. And then if you click on that, right on the top of the homepage, there's a drop list that says find a consultant. And if you click on that, all the towns in Connecticut will appear and you pick the town the program is located in. Sometimes families live in a town different than their childcare program or their ECE center. And so because the consultant is coming primarily to the ECE program, we go by the program town. And that's how you would find which consultant to reach out to. And it really is best to reach out directly to your consultant. They are wonderful at letting people know availability for services. We do ask, so we know right now there is a lot of need across the state, and we did have a change in our capacity. So we are well aware that there might be a longer wait at times, particularly in the fall when there's a lot of requests for service. But we ask that you still make a request for ECCP services so we can show the true need in our state as we continue to advocate for additional funding for the program so that we can grow capacity of the ECCP team to be available to support you at your programs closer to real time. And we do know that that can be frustrating to wait for services when you have a need, which is part of why we have those other service types our consultants offer regularly on a rolling basis that anybody can attend, the consultation group or the community training while you may be waiting for a classroom-based service or a child-based service. So if you have any questions for us, we're happy to take some questions today. And then the last slide, again, has our website. Thank you for inviting us today, Izzy and Meryl. We appreciate being here. Melinda and my contact information is right on our website too, and people can reach out to us directly even after today with additional questions. Or better yet, if you're interested in the service, to reach out directly to your consultant to talk about how to get started.
Amazing, thank you. All right, first I'm just going, we don't actually have any open questions. They have been answered, but folks, if you have questions, now is the time to put it into the Q&A, please. Meryl, do you have any questions, anything that came up for you?
Yeah, if a provider is sort of hearing about this for the first time and wants to know sort of, is there some trainings and a group that how do I connect with that?
That's a great question. So providers who are interested in connecting to trainings, the best way, like Melinda had mentioned briefly when she talked about our indirect services, is to get on your local consultant's listserv. So if you reach out to your consultant and say, I want to be aware of when you're doing community trainings, they will let you know what's scheduled for the fall, and then they'll add you to their distribution list. So you're getting real-time information about training opportunities. Our consultants actually this fall will be training in person across their area on a training that we developed related to supporting challenging conversations, which I think is a very important topic. So I think that's a great one that we're all thinking about and could use some additional tips on how to do that, or share strategies that are really working for you with your community of peers, right, to come to that training.
Great. And in terms of finding out who your consultant is to get on their listserv, is that a link on the website?
Yeah. Yes, that's the best way, is just
Great.
to come on our website.
Yeah.
And the list of consultants. We update that regularly. Right now, all of our communities have a consultant. So we had our last position filled recently. That consultant is in training, but we'll be accepting referrals and able to support. So we're really excited about that as well.
And can one of you put the website into the chat now, just so that we make sure we get it in there for folks? Okay, a couple of other questions here. What is the age you serve? And I see, oh, I see the answer already. All children in childcare birth to age 6 and in preschool.
Yes.
Okay, that was an easy one. Is there a handout with the information for all the consultations and the service areas, or is it just go to the website for that?
The best way is to go to the website. I can prepare a handout and share that. The best way to keep it current is on our website. Sometimes when you have a handout, it could be outdated. So we try not to do it that way.
Great. So folks, the website is now in the chat and you can go there to get the information that you need. Meryl, go ahead.
I was just looking at the website. Yeah.
Oh, apologies.
Meryl, you may be able to see it, but we also have a lot of great resources for folks out there too. And so if you're looking for just some, some ideas about how to talk with families, or maybe some of the behaviors that you're seeing, we have a set of tips out there. We have full page, we call them tips for tots. So we've got some tip cards out there. We've even got some book suggestions. So have fun with our website. We, try to make it have a lot of great resources for you too.
And I can see that if you click the top right, you can translate it into other languages. So that may be helpful to folks here as well. Oh, I see. Hold on. The website is not listed in the chat. I'm moving it. It was actually shared only with panelists. I'm sharing it with
sorry.
everyone. No problem. It happens all the time. I've just posted it. Apologies, but thank you to someone for telling us that. Okay. I think that is all the open questions. That was a very thorough presentation. Thank you so much for all of that information. Last call, Meryl. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, I think our next presentation will be 2 weeks from today. And we've got Vanessa, can you remind me the names of the people who are coming on? Can you can we recognize? Let's see, I can probably look it up.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff coming up here. Let's see if Vanessa can join. Vanessa, you are able to talk if you are able to.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. So next week we'll be having Elaine from Reach Out Inc. She's a birth to 3 provider, and Adriana from the Center, Connecticut Parent Advocacy Center, to talk about birth to 3 and resources that are available in that specific program and those ages.
Great. And that is August 25th.
Monday the 25th. Yeah.
Yep. We're taking next week off. That's the following week.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Vanessa. Okay, and then I will just say, since Ava is translating today, that I know there's a number of pop-up play and share sessions happening around the state for childcare for CT. Those are parent-focused information sessions on how people can get involved in early childhood advocacy, and making sure that the rollout of Early Start and all of the new changes is really parent-focused and does what it's supposed to do. So if you know parents who you'd like to get involved in that kind of work, you can, I'll put the website right in here. It's childcareforct.org/get-involved, and that has the link to sign up for any of those. .org, I'm typing it in. All right, I think that's it. Thank you, Ava, for providing translation. Thank you to Yola and Melinda for all of the information today. Really, really fantastic. People can go to your website and I'm sure contact you that way. If they have any questions, do you have a specific email you'd like them to contact you at?
Yep, so that's right on our website. If you go to our About page, you can see Melinda and I contact information. And then if you are interested in learning about ECCP specifically for your area, it's best to contact a consultant directly. They can help you and get you the information that you need quickly.
All right, and lots of thank yous in the chat. So wonderful. Have a wonderful week, everyone. And well, actually, wonderful 2 weeks. We will see you on August 25th. Thanks so much.